Hello, everyone. My name is Lauren Etheridge, and today I will be talking with you about Future Ready Schools Framework. During the presentation, we'll talk about what the framework is, break down each indicator, and talk about some best practices that can be observed in a few case studies, and talk about the implications for the K-12 education setting. The Future Ready framework was created by All4Ed to be an outline for schools and districts to create actionable steps toward implementing a learner-centered technology integration vision, a vision that brings together and meets the needs of all stakeholders. The framework consists of 7 key elements illustrated as gears or spokes in a wheel. At the center of all of this is learner-centered decision-making. Let's take a closer look at each of these gears and what they encompass. The curriculum, instruction, and assessment gear emphasizes preparing students for college and careers after graduation through development of digital citizenship. It calls for instruction that is tailored to meet individual needs and promote growth through blended learning and real-world collaborative learning. The use of formative and summative assessments, as well as student self-assessments, are encouraged to facilitate student-centered decision-making. Personalized professional learning encourages education leaders to provide opportunities for networking and collaboration among educators within and outside of the school district, to offer voice and choice in content and learning modalities, and to provide ongoing support and development opportunities in order to ensure teachers' ability to guide students in building critical skills and to encourage reflection, goal setting, and the expansion of personal learning networks. Under robust infrastructure, educational leaders are encouraged to make decisions that ensure quality devices and adequate broadband access are available to all students, to provide support for all stakeholders, to address access and digital literacy needs, and to create a proactive process for monitoring and updating technology. All of these factors are focused on providing students with anytime, anywhere learning. This is a theme in the 2017 National Education Technology Plan and the 2020 South Carolina EdTech Plan. So we can see some correlations there. The budget and resources gear requires an understanding of funding and cost at the district, state, and federal level in order to implement vision and expectations effectively. This section emphasizes using technology to streamline services in order to enhance student-centered initiatives, coordinating efforts to align with the district's vision, ensuring equitable access through budget planning and consistent funding sources, and using protocols to measure effectiveness of tools and strategies to meet learning objectives. Creating community partnerships is emphasized as a way to develop students into lifelong learners through collaboration with diverse local and global cultural groups and industries, hands-on experiences to increase college and career readiness, and engagement with home and community through frequent communication. This section also highlights the need for schools and district branding based on the vision of the district and learner-centered initiatives. The data and privacy gear directs educational leaders to put systems in place to ensure security and privacy, appropriate access to data, and to ensure policies and protocols are in place to successfully follow all state and federal privacy and rights laws. It also emphasizes the need to make learner-centered decisions based on data and increase data literacy in educators, leaders, and students. The use of space and time gear may seem like an afterthought, but it is actually essential to meeting the goal of learning anytime, anywhere. This gear emphasizes student choice, flexible scheduling, synchronous and asynchronous access to materials and devices, competency-based learning, strategies for providing extended time for projects and collaboration, as well as universal design and inclusivity in digital and physical learning spaces. It also encompasses instructional pedagogy and learning opportunities beyond the classroom. While this is the final gear, there is another piece to the Future Ready framework that is just as important as all the others. Collaborative leadership. If you look closely at the visual aid for the diagram, you will notice that collaborative leadership and inclusive culture encircle the entire wheel. While I feel like an inclusive culture is part of the vision of Future Ready Schools and a product of the framework, collaborative leadership is a key piece to initiate and sustain the process of tech integration and a future ready mindset. Collaborative leaders help establish a forward-thinking vision with stakeholders to drive the identification of teaching and learning goals. They foster a culture of collaboration that values innovation, trust, and risk-taking, thus empowering students and educators to create and achieve through inclusivity and respect. Collaborative leaders set high expectations for evidence-based practices and help monitor progress toward teaching and learning objectives. They also facilitate a shift toward future-ready thinking through actively modeling transformative thinking and collaborative endeavors with all stakeholders. While reviewing each of the key elements of the Future Ready framework, you may have noticed that while the format and organization of this framework is unique, its ideas and themes are not necessarily new to education. After analyzing the framework's gears, I placed the ISTE standards for educators and education leaders next to my notes, and the results were not surprising. I could find one to multiple correlations between each of the ISTE standards and the gears of the Future Ready framework. For example, the ISTE Education Leaders Standard 3.3c, Inspire a Culture of Innovation, states that leaders inspire a culture of innovation, creativity, problem-solving, and collaboration that allows the time to explore and develop teaching practices using digital tools. This standard correlates strongly with elements of collaborative leadership, but it also connects to personalized professional learning, use of time and space, community partnerships, as well as curriculum instruction and assessment. In addition to overlapping with the ISTE standards, there were also many correlations with the National Education Technology Plan, including the emphasis on robust infrastructure to provide equitable access, as well as data and privacy concerns and strategies for addressing them. In addition to comparing the Future Ready framework to these nationally recognized resources, I also looked at examples of the framework in use at schools around the country. The All4Ed website provides several case studies of public school districts that have implemented the FRS framework successfully. These case studies focus on 4 key areas of implementation: collaborative leadership, personalized student learning, robust infrastructure, and personalized professional learning. However, evidence of all the framework gears can be observed in the case study examples. Here are a few key points about transitioning schools to a technology-enhanced learning environment that I took away from the case studies. First, schools and districts need to understand that a comprehensive approach to tech integration is a must. The gears of this framework cannot be addressed in isolation. Tech integration must be incorporated from many angles with a vision for student-centered learning as the focus. Second, empower educators to be innovators. If educators are not empowered to take risks and express their creativity and expertise, not even the most detailed technology plan will meet its full potential. Third, elevate student voice and ownership. Students need the opportunity to take ownership of their learning and express their unique personalities and interests. Let's empower them to do this. Fourth, exploring all possibilities. Whether creating flexible learning spaces or finding space in the budget for tech upgrades, think outside the box and don't be afraid to copy someone else's good idea. Fifth, measure the impact of digital learning strategies. All tech integration should be based on learning objectives and proven strategies in pedagogy. If you realize that something is not working the way it was projected to, go back to the drawing board and adjust the approach. Lastly, create partnerships. Partnerships between students, administration, and educators, partnerships between school and home, partnerships between schools and community leaders and businesses. The more partnerships and collaboration, the wider the network of support for our students. The suggestions and experiences documented in these case studies could be applied to any public school district. But thinking about South Carolina and the rural district where I teach, here are a few specific implications for the Future Ready Schools framework. While our district has directly benefited from many of the initiatives in the South Carolina EdTech Plan, compared to the Future Ready framework, I would say that our district has stalled out. We are a one-to-one district with lots of resources and technology. However, technology is used as more of a support tool than a means of elevating teaching and learning. I would love to see our district create a technology integration vision that would establish a sense of community across the schools and a level of consistency as students progress through the grade levels. I believe we do have the infrastructure and data policies in place to support a focused tech integration initiative. Some of our policies and procedures may have to be updated to support more flexible learning opportunities. For instance, I am currently working with our instructional technology coach to gain approval for sixth graders at our school to create digital portfolios via Google Sites. We have been a Google Suites school district for 7+ years, and I don't know of anyone who has utilized this learning strategy with our students. Another way our district could support increased student-centered tech integration would be to provide professional development opportunities specifically addressing blended learning and increasing student agency in the classroom. I believe that implementing the FRS framework could also help strengthen the partnerships between families and our school. Increasing student ownership and communicating school visions would help increase parent engagement. Lastly, I would like to do more research on how flexible space and time options could be incorporated during and after the school day. Although building space may be limited, I think that outdoor learning spaces could be a really interesting option, especially for elementary students. Overall, I see a lot of overlap between the Future Ready Schools framework and national initiatives such as the ISTE standards and the National EdTech Plan. Hopefully, our district and districts across the nation will take advantage of these resources to elevate our teaching and learning strategies. Thank you for exploring the Future Ready framework with me today. Here are the resources that are referenced in my presentation. I hope everyone has a blessed day.